approaching. McGlinchey's ball in. One head into the back of the net by Patrick Svansbeek. The veteran gives the Mariners the lead in the grand final with his first of the season. What a time to score it. Breen trying to get around Michael Beach. Oh, it came off the hand of Jerome Polens. That's a penalty. This is a big kick in the grand final. McBreen tucks it away, and the Mariners are 2 goals to the good. And surely they can't blow it from here this time. Wherever you're watching around the world, a very warm welcome to Sydney for the 2013 Hyundai A-League Grand Final between the Western Sydney Wanderers and the Central Coast Mariners. A sellout crowd at the Sydney Football Stadium. And whatever happens here today, we will have a new name on the trophy. In fact, today is a day for the football romantic Central Coast Mariners, going in search of their first success after having been the bridesmaids on 3 previous occasions, 2 of those grand final losses coming at this very venue, while the Wanderers, of course, are in their very first season. A club set up in just 6 months has shifted around 30,000 tickets today. They're already the premiers. Now can they win the double in their debut season? And the big news for Tony Popovic's side is that Aaron Mooy is fit to return after missing the last 3 games with that knee problem. Yanni Pakatis is the unlucky man to miss out. Jerome Polens is considered worth the risk despite his ongoing problems with a quad injury. And Kwabena Appiah-Kubi, formerly of the Mariners, is chosen to replace the suspended Yusuf Hersey. Mark Bridge is looking for his 3rd winners' medal with his 3rd different club today. He's scored in his previous 2 for the Jets and for Sydney FC. He's overcome an ankle problem to start this afternoon. Now just one change for the Mariners from the side that defeated Melbourne Victory. As expected, Ollie Bozanic gets the nod to replace the suspended Nick Montgomery in central midfield. Anthony Caceres must content himself with a spot on the subs bench. Patrick Svansbeek will start in the centre of defence, and at 38 years young, he today becomes the oldest player ever to feature in an A-League Grand Final. Tony Popovic and his opposite number, Graham Arnold, on the 2 benches today. The 2 are the best of mates who actually shared digs together in Japan when they both played for Sanfrecce Hiroshima. So away we go for the 8th Hyundai A-League Grand Final. The Wanderers have the majority of the backing in the stands, Andy Harper, but many of the experts are backing the Mariners today. Are you among them?
Well, I am, Simon. I think the injury cloud over 2 or 3 Western Sydney Wanderers is what might swing it against them. It's going to be a very, very tight game, very physical game. And a lot of people romantically are hoping for the Mariners, given it's their 4th tilt at the title. And I think they might just get their nose across the line first here this afternoon.
Well, here's Aaron Mooy, who's been under that injury cloud all week, and he's released Appiah-Kubi on the right. And we're going to have the first corner of the grand final. It's gone to the Wanderers.
And a great little attack to settle the nerves for the Wanderers.
Into the Cove end of the ground, normally populated by Sydney FC supporters. Today, taken over by the Wanderers fans. To work back towards, in towards the near post where Beecham was stationed. And they'll get a second bite of the cherry.
And terrific early sustained pressure from the Wanderers. Good composure to set up the crossing opportunity. And they fired it in low and in front of the defenders.
Chinook Mooy, frantic in these opening stages. The Mariners desperately trying to steady their nerves. It's a good ball to try and release Pejbovic on the right. The Mariners' first attack. Abini. Pejbovic, a fullback who loves to get forward. He's nutmegged Shannon Cole. Back he comes, Abini. A decent sight of goal early on for the Mariners.
Really good sight of goal. Good pressure from Aaron Mooy. That's going to be a key to today's game, Simon. The Wanderers love to block opponents into one sideline, steal the ball and counter-attack.
This is Josh Rose. Getting the challenge of Mooy and then felled by Polens. Free kick for the Mariners in front of their supporters.
Nice work from Josh Rose. Just teasing Jerome Polens.
Mariners fans starting to make themselves heard. In the minority here today, but good situation this for their side. McGlinchey to clip it in towards the back post where Sainsbury was waiting. Came off Mark Bridge. Stajovski's away, onside, over the top of the goalkeeper, and it grazes the crossbar. Miller Stajovski, who scored a grand final goal for Sydney United back in 1999, was a whisker away. Was he onside? He looked as though he was.
Yeah, it's a brilliant run. And this is a great tactic from the Mariners, because they will try and hold that line about 30 or 40 metres from their own goal, the Wanderers, and compress the field and try and turn the game into a combat zone and win that possession.
Sainsbury, it's a lovely switch of play. Rose, time to measure the cross towards McBreen. It comes off Cole. Beginning to leave it for Bowic. Cutely done by the fullback. Volleyed away by Topo Stanley.
Brilliant, Pej Bowic. Great touch to set up the cross, and a nice cross too. Just needed someone on the near post.
Might be silenced in a few moments though if Ollie Bozanic can get this delivery right. 5 to aim for. Goes to the back post, and it's across the face from McBreen, I think. Bozanic's in swinger towards Abini. Couldn't get full contact. What about that from Shinji Ono? The vision of the man. And away races Mark Bridge in a foot race with Pej Bowic, who holds him up, floated it towards Kresinger, who just tried to strain the neck muscles and couldn't make contact. What a counter from the Wanderers.
Well, set up by their key man. Ono instinctively over the top to Bridge, who set up the cross beautifully with that touch and a hair's breadth in it. From Dino Kresinger, beautiful cross. And just a millimetre away was Dino Kresinger.
Keep an eye on the Wanderers fullback. He's got to focus for the moment. Dulci's corner whipped in towards Stajovski at the near post. There was appeals from the Mariners fans there for an infringement. Cross comes in towards Sainsbury, only partly away by Topo Stanley, and Sainsbury trying to lash a right boot at the ball. And he couldn't make any purchase on it.
Very close, very close. Tarek Elrich has been summoned to the Wanderers bench. Here's the scramble, Topo Stanley rising. No competition.
It's Van Zweek. It's become his trademark, that left-footed crossfield pass. Returned by McBreen, and now there's an overlap on for Josh Rose inside the box. Rose across the face, and Abini couldn't quite get there.
Well, in the end, I think the cross from Josh Rose just had too much speed on it, but this goal was crafted by Daniel McBreen, an exquisite turn centre field, and then bouncing the ball off a support player to find Josh Rose, and just too much on it from Bernie Abini to get in front.
Moy and Shinji Ono discussing matters. Moy runs over it. There goes square. Polyak to deliver along the ground for Kresinger. The corner for the Wanderers.
Yeah, that was nicely worked too. Really done by the Wanderers. They thread that ball into Kresinger.
In front of their noisy red and black block supporter group. Outswinger from Ono. Goal kick. Debate this week as to whether Stajovski or Mitch Duke should start. Arnold went with Stajovski. So far, he's repaid him. Bozanic's free kick into that danger zone, the corridor of uncertainty, if you like. Van Zweek was stationed there. Yet to score an A-League goal this season, 7 last.
Had to throw his less favoured right foot at the ball.
To Polyak. Of Dinamo Zagreb. Bowic on the charge from right fullback, which he loves to do, being pursued by Mark Bridge all the way. Still with Bowic. Actually, Aaron Moy says enough. Yakubi steaming forward on the right. It's a pretty rotten ball from Polyak.
He needed to hit that about 15 yards earlier than he did.
About 5 seconds quicker.
Exactly. The quality of the playing surface, and it's difficult for the players in big games like this when the pressure's really on. You can see Apia Kubi putting Matt Ryan under pressure now.
And he's done so really well. He's robbed the goalkeeper of the ball. Ryan retreating, Apia Kubi to try and bend it, which is probably overly ambitious. And the Mariners survive. A warning sign. The pace of Apia Kubi quickly closing down the goalkeeper. afford to dally in those sort of areas. Now McGlinchey getting a metre on Pollens, and he's away from the fullback, and McBreen had a swing at it. Now Abini on target. That's gobbled up by Ante Kovic.
And another case in point, although it was just taken off Daniel McBreen's foot there by Wanderers defender.
Swansbeek out to Josh Rose. Familiar combination. Now McGlinchey's in behind. And nobody was rushing in into the 6-yard box to try and finish off the chance. So McGlinchey, his good work goes to waste. And Josh Rose too. How easily they found a way in behind the Wanderers defence. Here they go again down that side. They've had a fair bit of joy down that flank, Andy.
Well, they certainly have. It's the far side of the stadium which has had most of the attacks from both teams. Pej Bojic a couple of runs down the right, but Josh Rose has been prominent, and the Mariners just one player short in the penalty area.
And they've got a few in the box now. Half-time approaching. McGlinchey's ball in. And headed into the back of the net by Patrick Svansbeek, the veteran. Gives the Mariners the lead in the grand final with his first of the season. What a time to score it. And you can't say that they haven't deserved it. 38 years young, a bullet from close range. Mariners 1-0.
Well, it's brilliant contact from beautifully fighted corner. Kressinger just left on his heels. You'd reckon it was his job to police the Dutchman. Beecham there or thereabouts as well. And Svansbeek into the available gap, and he belts the ball home. It's no less than the Mariners deserve. It's true at this point. It's Kovic's goal that's been under greater threat, and not even goalkeeper of the year Ante Kovic can stop the Mariners from their moment.
Right on the cusp of half-time. What can the Wanderers do about it? Pollens with a crossing towards Kressinger. And it appeals for handball against Bojic. Peter Green had a good view of it, shook his head. Would have been a calamity for the Mariners after just taking the lead.
Well, interesting to see that one again. Oof.
Oh.
That's handball.
McBreen. Again, time to turn and look at the space for Josh Rose. Rose to drill it. Well, drifts harmlessly wide from a Wanderers point of view, but one of the things Tony Popovic is going to have to sort out, Andy, is that amount of traffic down Pollens' flank.
Well, I think it's pointed to Aaron Mooy's fitness and readiness to play, Simon. He's physically able to get up and down the field, but there's not the intensity of Mooy's movement to stop the Mariners in the centre of the field. That'd be my assessment.
Well, we'll see what Tony Popovic does in the second half. Patrick Svansbeek is the man of the moment. Just a minute or two before the interval, an unstoppable header from close range following Michael McGlinchey's corner. And those Mariners fans who've had a few disappointments down the years are perhaps just starting to believe that perhaps, finally, it might be their time. Still 45 minutes to go, but at the break, it's the Western Sydney Wanderers 0, the Central Coast Mariners 1. The Mariners so close to a first championship, they can almost taste it. There's the team leading by a 1-0, courtesy of Patrick Svansbeek, who gets us back underway at the start of this second half. It is remarkable, Andy Harper, that Robbie Slater said they haven't considered a goal from a set-piece all season, the Wanderers. In fact, it's just the second headed goal they conceded all campaign as well.
Well, diligence has been a byword for the Wanderers this season, and Dino Kressinger was just half a yard slow to react. He had the job of tracking the Dutchman and the goal scorer Svansbeek. It ended up a clear header, which he executed perfectly, and that's what separates the teams here.
Still the Mariners have it. Bojic again. Through the legs of Shannon Cole. Threatening this for the Wanderers. Came off the head of Topo Stanley, and behind for a corner.
Brilliant composure from the Mariners, and at the centre of it all is Daniel McBreen, who's playing that 10 role in possession so expertly, feeding wide runners, and in this case, Pej Bojic getting the better of Shannon Cole. McBreen looking to find a teammate on the far post.
McGlinchey, who delivered for Svansbeek's opener in the 43rd minute. work it short, and Bozanic across to the far post, and Topor Stanley taking no chances.
Well, it's a good result from a poor cross, really.
Back with Moy. It's a better ball for Apia Kubi. Quick feet. Good delivery too. Bridge is waiting. Had a swing at it. Maybe got caught. So went to make contact with the ball. Still the Wanderers press. Bridge finding a little pocket of space. Volley cleared by Svansbeek. Topor Stanley. Beecham for Pollens. Apia Kubi. Ball stayed in play. He's away from Josh Rose. Still Apia Kubi. Blocked by Svansbeek, and now the counter is perhaps on for McGlinchey. He can shrug off the attentions of Aaron Moy. And he's stuck to his task.
Yeah, good hustle from Aaron Moy. Exciting play from Apia Kubi. Put it on a plate for Mark Bridge, but it was Pej Bowic who nipped in.
Let's see what Ono can produce here. Out on the full by Pej Bowic. Oops, lucky to escape the concession of a penalty in the first half. Pollens gets it back off Ono. Pollens to drive it, but no real power behind it.
Yeah, the Mariners are condensing the field really nicely. Very compact. There's hardly any space between their midfield and their back four. And that's where Bridge and Ono do most of their dangerous work. Here's an example now. Bridge pick up the ball in some space.
Pollens. Now Apia Kubi. Out for Pollens on the right. And he finds a delivery towards Kressinger. It drops for Ono on the volley. And he can't hit the target.
Well, they're on notice, the Central Coast Mariners, well and truly. They're starting to grow in confidence, the Western Sydney Wanderers.
That's a clear trip on McBreen. Ryan Arnold is out of his seat again. Is that perhaps a push by Bowic on Kressinger? Well, there was half a shout, in fact more than that, from Tony Popovic.
Yeah, there was certainly some contact from Pej Bowic. They were so dominant in the first half, but certainly they've allowed the Wanderers back into the game.
Stojowski just went into the ball to run across him, and Stojowski, oh! That could have perhaps been the clincher for the Mariners. Well, he's had two really good chances today, and he's not been far away with either of them.
Well, he scored a beauty in that goal for the Socceroos in an Asian qualifier a number of years ago now, but it's been vintage Stojowski today. Really close in the first half, not as close, but exciting as well in the second.
A whole cluster of bodies there. Ryan thought about coming and then thought better of it. We'll work it back out to Shinji Ono. Wanderers are going to make a substitution shortly. Ono into the path of Shannon Cole. Deep towards Kressinger, and it's tipped over the bar by Matt Ryan.
Now this is enormous for the Wanderers, this passage of play now. It's going basically since the restart. And it's just that Mile Stojowski effort, which is the only thing that's really concerned them. Otherwise, it's been Matt Ryan latterly having to be desperate.
Can he be the X-factor perhaps for the Western Sydney Wanderers, who've been better in the second half? Breen trying to get around Michael Beach. Oh, it came off the hand of Jerome Pollens. That's a penalty. Penalty for the Central Coast Mariners. Calamity for Jerome Pollens. Clearly came off the arm, and Peter Green had no doubts and pointed to the penalty spot. Daniel McBreen, who's going to take it, has scored twice but missed 3 times. And did, of course, miss in the shootout in the grand final against the Raw 2 years ago. But this is a big kick in the grand final. McBreen tucks it away, and the Mariners are 2 goals to the good. And surely they can't blow it from here this time.
They've been so creaky from the penalty spot, but make no mistake about that one. Emphatic is the only word that comes to mind. He's been great today, Daniel McBreen. Golden Boot winner of the regular season, goal scorer in the semi-final last week, and now with the penalty that gives the Mariners some breathing space.
80 minutes gone. As the is the Poznan that the Wanderers fans have made their own in the A-League this season. In fact, it's going right the way around the stadium. Wanderers fans trying to rouse their team for one last effort. Got a corner to defend here. McGlinchey's delivery plucked out of the air by Kovic. Now there's fast open spaces ahead of Mark Bridge, linking up with Aaron Moy. Now or never for the Wanderers. Cole's ball in. It's sit for Aaron Moy. Taken away from him by Svansbeek. Cole. Tripped by Abini. Free kick again. Western Sydney. For the Wanderers against Pejbovic. He's refused both. Tony Popovic knows that time is now really of the essence for his team. Moy's ball in towards the back post, and McBreen was there. 90 minutes almost up. It's not won quite yet, and here's Labano Haliti with a chance. And he goes inside the box. And again, Peter Green waves play on, not interested. And that should be enough. Peter Green has the whistle to his mouth. He blows it now, and finally, it has taken 8 years, 4 grand finals, and an awful lot of heartache along the way. But the Central Coast Mariners have a championship at last. No wonder Graham Arnold punches the air in celebration and no doubt relief. The two good mates exchange a hug and handshakes too. It is disappointment for the Wanderers, but their turn will surely come, and they have the consolation of the Premiership. But outside their fans, few will begrudge, I'm sure, the Mariners this moment. They cried tears of despair 2 years ago. Today, it is tears of joy. They are the smallest club with the biggest hearts. So how good is it to finally proclaim that the Central Coast Mariners are the champions of Australia? It's Patrick Svansbeek on the cusp of half-time, and then a second-half penalty for Daniel McBreen. Enough to see off the Wanderers. The full-time scoreline: Western Sydney Wanderers 0, the Central Coast Mariners 2. The Mariners are the champions for Season 8.
Once again, please put your hands together for the Central Coast Mariners, champions.